Okay, so I've had a few questions around what I do or how do I collect seeds, tomato seeds that is. So you're going to need a few things. One is a pen or something to write write the name of the seed down and the date. I personally put the date. You need napkin, a container. It can be any container to store them in. I personally like something like this, and I use a napkin and I write the date and details and the variety on there. And I can see through it, so it helps as well, as you can see. You'll need a knife. I prefer a serrated knife. Forgot one thing. And I also use, I think this is a little fish knife, or a butter knife, little butter knife. And there's no edge to it. It's just a, pretty sure it's a fish knife. Something like a spatula to grab the seeds. I do have a spatula thingy too, because I like to stretch the seeds out so they dry on the napkin, which I'll show you how to do later. I use a sieve and a bowl to catch the juices from that. And I have a pot here next to me because I normally make sauce from the balance of the tomato. So if I cut it straight in there, it's ready to go. So you need to wash your tomatoes, make sure they're nice and clean. And we'll start. So basically, I cut my tomato, and because I'm making sauce out of it, I clean it as if I'm going to use it. I take out the core. The one thing I don't have is a bowl ready to go for to catch all the ugly bits. Could have used a smaller bowl for this demo, but that's all right. So cut out the core. Don't need that. Then I cut out any little bits and pieces that I don't want in there. Tomato, and I should have put my glasses on, and I didn't. Those seeds there. And basically, you'll find little pockets in the tomato, and they almost look like strawberry, the outside of a strawberry. So that's what I've discovered anyway. So I'll see if I can show you. It's not going to work. So basically, I grab this little blunt knife thing, and I collect my seeds like this. Into the sieve. It goes. Make sure there's no more in there. And go through that process again. I might not get it. I don't know if you can see that. If you can zoom in on this. So can you see that? Yeah? So there are all your little seeds in there. But it's in amongst all that area that holds the seeds. And that's what I scrape into this sieve. I put the rest in the pot. So if I can like so. Not necessarily the most tidiest of jobs. And by no means is this the only way. This is the only way I've worked it out. It works for me. God, they're good tomatoes, aren't they? Eh? And I haven't got my glasses on. Anyway, so I go through this process again. Keep going, and if I was smart, I'd have this closer. Do that. So we'll just we'll keep going with the video, but we'll edit it so it's on double time, so it goes quicker. Yeah, this is just repeated. So my earlier post, basically I realised you shouldn't take your seeds for granted. There's a bit of work that goes into them, and patience more than anything. It's a bit fiddly. So that's when I thought, geez, there's a bit of work in this. Doing this one pretty rough. Take your time with it. I'm sure you do a good job. I'm rushing this just for the demo. It's like that side of a strawberry. See that? Let's do that. Nearly done with this one tomato. Absolutely beautiful. Yum. Make a great sauce. The big ones have got extra little pockets, I found. Yeah. Let's grab this last lot. Like that. And so for the just for the demonstration purposes, then I grab the sieve where I've collected the seeds with cold water. And then I just kind of sift through the housing of the seed, and you're left with the seeds and a little bit of residue of, that's okay. I'm just washing away most of the other stuff, or majority of it. Might have a few pieces you could just kick out. This is, normally I do, obviously I do a bunch of tomatoes at once. That's pretty good. So you end up with majority, well, all really seeds, the seeds are really, that's all that's left. Alright, you can probably take that bit out. And then, this is where the paper towel comes into play. Let's grab that, sorry. And then I just break this. Probably did that a bit too hard. But that's alright. And this is where my spatula, this is where the spatula thing comes in. Especially when you've got a lot of seeds, I just spread it out on the paper towel. And if you're doing, so it's spread out, and when there's a lot, I actually double layer. So similar to this, to soak up most of the moisture. And then I spread it out, and then I leave that for a while, for a day or so to dry. And then that's when it is dry. That's when I get my sharp knife. Probably uses, some sharp implement anyway with an edge on it or a point on it. And when they're dry, that's when I go along and I actually flick the seeds off the paper. And that's how I collect the seeds. And they end up looking like that. But you need them to be dry. So that's when I label them. And you need them to be dry, otherwise they could go moldy. So sometimes even when they're dry, I leave the lid off so that it can breathe, but I try and dry them as much as possible on the paper towel before I flick them off. So, and that's basically how I collect my tomato seeds.